Hello, and a warm welcome back to you all. I'm Toady UK, and we now continue our journey into Egypt and its mysterious past. This is the second part of a two-part leaders debate, exclusive to the Jose JG Gonzalez channel. In this concluding episode, we will again hear from myself, Toady UK, along with Sleeping Warrior and Angel. So sit back, enjoy the next hour, and also, if you have the time, join us afterwards for a live Q&A panel. Let me find it. So this is a piece of, it's going to be so annoying because I can't really see it. Can you see that? Can you see this bit of basalt from the basalt pavement? Yeah, can you see it? Okay,
yes,
right. So I'm going to stick that onto, because I've got quite a few samples. Here we go. Put it on a card. Here we go.
Now, what I understand is if you put a paper clip on one side of that and a magnet on the other, the paper clip won't be affected because the basalt actually negates magnetism.
Are you watching?
I am.
Okay, can you see this?
I think your screen froze. Oh, no, you're moving.
You see this?
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, it looks like a watch band.
Yeah, it's a lot of neodymium magnets.
Okay,
Yep.
neodymium magnets. I'll go with that.
Yep. Okay, and here's the bit of basalt. And ready?
Does it make the neodymium magnets break apart?
No. Look what it did. It stuck to it.
Oh,
it's that
it's
magnetic.
It's
like a lump of iron. Look, can you see? Look, I'll try and do it again. Trouble is, I can't see the screen you're seeing, so I'm not doing this very well. Can you see? So can you see the rock here? This piece of rock, which is quite heavy. It's about the size of the end of my finger. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a neodymium. And I'm pulling it up. Can you see?
All right.
You can see it more like that. Yeah. And I'm going to toss it off again. Yeah. Or move it around. It really is very, very magnetic. But you can't magnetize it. So I can pick it up like this. But if I try and magnetize it, you can't pick something else up with it. So even if I do this, even if I stroke it. Here we go. I'll take a, I don't know if you can see this. I'll take a, here's a.
Well, my understanding is the rock itself has a natural tendency to negate magnetism.
Can you see? Well, it has a natural tendency to be magnetic, incredibly magnetic. Look, I'll show you another rock that won't do anything. Look, here we go. As a normal test, here we are. This is another bit of rock. Yeah, just natural rock. Can you say rocks don't normally jump at all? See, look, here's another bit of rock. Yeah. Nothing. Yep.
Right.
And here is the magical piece of basalt from the granite pavement. Can you see? So it's really very highly magnetic, which means it probably has got a lot of iron in it. Really unusually. It shocked me. It was so magnetic. You see, it just picks it up automatically.
Right.
It's incredibly magnetic. The other thing I found is, I've got a load of rock samples, by the way, which I won't bore you with now. We'll do that for another day. The Aswani granite is also magnetic as well, which is very unusual too. So the actual granite that they brought up from Aswan, because there is a granite quarry that's only about 2 miles from the pyramid. It's a small one, but apparently the granite isn't very good there. So for some reason they obviously used the Aswani granite.
Now I'd almost bet you if I went to that quarry and you took your magnets that the rock in the quarry may not have any magnetism, which would prove to yourself that it didn't come from that quarry. But it sounds good in the story because since it's the closest quarry, that's what people have been saying and where it came from for hundreds of years, and therefore if you tell a lie often enough it becomes the truth.
Yeah, no, they tested that. It didn't come from that one. It came from the Aswan one. They've definitely tested it. Yeah, it didn't come from that local quarry. Yeah, the local quarry definitely is not the same kind of granite. Yeah, look, I'll show you. Hang on, I'll show you where, and I know because I did a test myself on the rocks. Here we go. Let me show you. I'll show you the quarry, and I'll show you the tests. Where is it? This is the long quarry that's miles away, the one that you wouldn't think it would come from.
Well, I'm not 100% sure it came from any of them. I still think much of it was fabricated.
Oh yeah, you still think it's fabricated, don't you? I forgot. Not carnate, not.
Did they tell you how it was cut?
No, they don't know any of that. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the. I'm not ignoring you, by the way. I'm just trying to find the correct.
Yeah, it's
There's
okay.
not so much as you can see. I've got bloody loads. I just want to show you the quarry because I'll show you the obelisk in the quarry, and you'll go, "Oh, that's interesting." Let me
Is
just
it the
check
one
if I've
that's
got
half drilled
It's the one that
that you
is
can climb down and go
unbelievable.
like next to?
Yeah, if you've never seen pictures,
Yeah,
and
I've
I
seen
went
it.
to both. I went into both. Oh, by the way, I also got the supposed melty staircase that isn't melted. It's just people walking up and down it. And
Weathering.
yeah, you know, have you seen the melty staircase? There's this whole thing by this guy called Jimmy. You know, Jimmy, he does a lot of these movies. Look, here we go. Look, I'll show you the melty staircase quickly because it's fun.
Yeah, it's just weathering caused by foot pressure, isn't it?
We'll see in other examples where they were moving so quickly that they made a mistake. They didn't catch it right away. They overcut a little bit and then backed off. So it's not like, apparently not really slow one at a time. It's,
Exactly.
yeah. So there's something very major going on that's not accounted for by classical Egyptological thinking, if I may say that.
Yeah, exactly. It is just, but they claimed that there was something that came in that blasted this. And I do admit, if you go here, I find a good bit. It does look kind of here. Here's a good example. Do you see what I mean? It does look sort of melted, doesn't it? And it does look like it could have been. Hang on, let's go back.
Yeah, it's just wear and tear caused by human foot traffic, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. It was exactly what it is. They were barefoot. And the other thing that you don't realize until you actually go there and get down at ground level. And by the way, I've got a video where I go down to ground level. This is all made out of one big block. So these are not steps, they're carved out of one huge block. Do you see what I mean? So the fact it's all like melted together, it's not melted, people have just worn into that block.
What rock is it?
Sorry?
What
This
rock is it?
I don't know, it's not basalt, it's not that strong to be basalt.
Because the other thing is, how long would it take for human foot traffic to do that if it's barefoot?
A huge amount. I mean, a huge amount. Look at it. Oh, I'll tell you the really interesting thing, which probably isn't in this picture, is these little sleeping windows. I've not gone to, there we go. There's a good example of the melty staircase. There you go. Look at that. Does look, you know, wow, looks like it was melted by something. And it literally, if you get down, you can actually see.
It does look melted.
It does look melted, doesn't it? Right. But it is just, what they did is on temple days as well, they used to put some kind of cane sugar or something on their feet, apparently. Here we go.
The grip.
Yeah, this will show you it's not melty. Here you go.
Because I bet if it's wet, I bet that's quite slippery.
Yeah, very slippery. Look, here you go. Look, and now I go down. This was the test because I was pretty sure it wasn't melted. And look, here we go. I'll go down right to the ground level, and you'll see the angle, and then you'll go, oh yeah, it's not melted. Look, right. So from here, it looks, yeah. You'd think, yeah, maybe it is melted. And then I drop down. Come on.
Yeah, it's clearly caused by foot traffic. That's fucking obvious, isn't it?
And you can see the angle it goes as well. Can you see where they turn the corner? Everyone goes around the corner in the same place. Here we go. Can you see now? See it? See,
Yeah,
it's
you'll
all
have to
just
bear
one
with
bit.
us. Give us a 3-second delay because you've always got a bit of a delay.
Oh, is there a delay? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, when you put a picture, let it refresh.
Okay, sorry about that. So now I'm going down, and you can see. Hopefully, you've seen 3-second delay that I've actually gone down, and you can see when you get down to the ground level view that you can see along it that it's just people's feet.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're seeing the thing with the window, these sleeping windows, they used to sleep in these windows. If you can see this window here, this shaft, I don't know, on the 3-second delay, if you can see the window, there's this little shaft. They used to sleep in these windows, which is really odd.
No, we're still on the staircase at the minute.
Are you? Okay. There we are. Here's the window up here.
Looking down, hang on, looking down the staircase. Ah, there's the window. Now we see the window.
Yeah. Can you see the window? So they actually slept here, and it used to have these energy carvings. It was really interesting. So again, something was going on. Something really interesting was going on. And I haven't told you about my semi-religious experience, have I, either? Which I won't do today. We'll save that for another time. It was pretty full on. Right. And by the way, you'll see the obelisk.
If you get a chance, you can go with Bren Forrester also. He's got good stuff.
he does really good trips as well. By the way, you see this obelisk, yeah, with the crack in it, which is obviously why they supposedly left it. Even if they'd got it out from all their supposed... remember we saw the walls where it looked like it was paintbrushes? Very interesting, similar sort of look to this, which we'll see in a sec. Even if they got this out, they'd have to have lifted it up. They'd have to lifted it over this and then take it down here. That's the crazy thing about this obelisk, which you'll see the size of it in a sec. Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
But the point is, if you were carving it out of a mountain, well, I'll show you where they carved another one out. And by the way, here's all those marks. Here you see. Right. Can you see here? This is where they took another one out. Here. Can you see this bit? I don't know. There's a lag on the screen. I'll wait till it catches up. Where these people are walking, they took another obelisk out here. Yeah. Okay. Somehow lifted it. I don't know. Got it.
This is where they're going to describe the word scoops, isn't it?
Yep. This is the scoops and the obelisk.
Oh, I see the people walking.
Yep. And you'll get the idea of how big the obelisk is inside. I think I'm going too far for your lag, aren't I? Unfortunately. Here we go. This is about.
Give it 3 seconds.
All right. 101, 102, 103. You should now see a picture with some people walking. Yeah. And you should see a really big cut where they took an obelisk out and 3 chisel marks. Are you seeing that?
Yeah. They call them lifting points, don't they?
Yep. So this is where they scooped it out somehow and moved it. All right. Hang on. So let me go on to the next photo I want to find. So excuse, I'm going quickly, but I'm trying to find.
I believe that those squares are where they mounted some kind of lifting hoist crane kind of thing.
Very probably some structure. So 101, 102, 103, it should now have caught up. You should now see the famous scoop marks. Can you see them?
Yeah.
What did they describe was causing that?
Well, their theory, the guy I was with, he's pretty open-minded. He thinks that there was an ultrasonic machine because he's worked with Dunn. So he's the guy who took Dunn. He took Dunn to this quarry, right? So he ascribes to Dunn's theory, which is that it was an ultrasound machine. Which, by the way, I think is a pretty good idea because then it would just scoop this. Look, think about it. If you were just chiseling this with you'll see in a minute the obsidian hammers.
Chisel marks.
Why would you do here? Why would you chisel here? You'd chisel just the bit that you needed to dig down. You wouldn't do the edges, would you? Why would you chisel the edges here? Because this is the obelisk, by the way. The obelisk is this bit, not this bit. Why the heck would you spend...
Angel, what do you think about the scoop theory?
I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
I've looked at it and I know it exists, but I haven't really tried to.
Why spend 4 months chiseling this bit? This bit, you're not even going to use this bit. This isn't an obelisk, right? Hang on, let me show you the.
Toady, do you agree that whatever they did, however they did it really quick there? That wasn't took over months and months to do all that. It was done pretty quick. I
completely agree. It was done pretty quick. Maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah. Maybe a month, the whole thing. Yep. They did not take years to do this. Can you see the whole obelisk now? Can you see how big it is?
That's huge.
It is absolutely huge. And look, can you see the scoop marks on both sides where they?
Did you see the ones that were broken when they were trying to get them out because they were too big?
Yeah. I'll show you. I'll show you all the stuff.
Well, they may not have been too big because they probably took ones of equivalent size in the past.
Yeah.
It just may have been that the rock had malfunctions.
And look, can you see? Look, they chiseled this. They chiseled this. Why would you chisel this bit? And by the way, my point earlier, you've got to lift this up and out of here. Can you see how much rock you've got to go over the top of?
I got a theory.
Yep.
They may have chiseled it because the device they needed to bring in there may have sat on top of it.
Ah, well, that's much more likely, isn't it? Yeah, you needed a level surface. Yeah, you needed to flatten it to put your workers and your machine on top of it. I agree. But by the way,
crazy, because whatever tech we're talking about, we can't do that right now.
We can't do that now. We could not move this obelisk now. So if this obelisk was free, we do not.
Oh yeah, they could. We just made a brand new Zeppelin that's good for lifting about 450 million pounds or something like that.
That would have to be
the size of 3 football fields.
So I agree. The only think about it. Right. So let's say you were using a Zeppelin. You get it onto this obelisk, right? Which is probably not a great way to move an obelisk around because an obelisk wobbles a lot. But let's say you do. You get your Zeppelin there. You latch it up with your things. You've still got to lift it. Yeah. You've still got to lift it up and not knock it into the side here. You see what I mean? You've got to go up and out. This doesn't just go out sideways onto a flatbed truck. This goes up and out. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
But do you know?
I'm not going to argue that.
Do you know what? In contrast, though, right? What you're looking at now is a logical explanation for how they might have moved it out, and all of us sit here in awe and go, "How the fuck have they done it?" Right? I think like that with regards to gas pressure and the vacuum of space. Do you not see the parallel? I'm like,
no, I don't, because that is something that I can go and get access.
I told you, my father and I were having a debate about that just this weekend, and all he kept going back to was what was taught in school.
Yeah,
and I'm like, but Dad, that's what you were told.
Yeah.
Does it even make sense when you think about it?
Not discussing that. Not entering into this discussion. You guys can have your little chat.
But what I'm saying is, look at the disparity between your mental thought process right now
compared to your
thought process in flat Earth.
Disparity is fun. I've thought these things. Look how big this thing is. It's just absolutely massive.
All right. So if they had
Oh, here, this is an
a
interesting one.
platformer structure
Mm.
that sat down, a square rectangular structure that would sit down around it and would lift it up, and then the Zeppelin would lift it up, so they didn't have to worry about banging the walls.
Yeah, I mean, a Zeppelin is a good idea of maybe how you might leave it, but they broke a load of these things moving them in the
Right.
1800s, and they
So
were moving
it
the
wasn't
smaller
like
ones and
always
they broke
perfect.
them.
Stones have natural impurities, just like trees do. You see people cutting trees. Here they are. Zzz, boom, hit a knot.
Yep.
Okay, that tree's out of there. Next, pick the next log.
So
Let
this
me
is
just
super
draw.
interesting.
Toady, one sec. Let me just draw a comparison here with the Moai on Easter. Is it Easter Island or Christmas Island?
Oh, yeah, they're really interesting. Easter Island.
They're doing the same thing. They're excavating them out of the fucking rocks, and it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are they doing this?
How would they do? And especially the Moye on a place where there's hardly any population to do the hollowing anyway.
And why would they spend all of the time putting these monuments up for like what purpose?
Exactly.
Oh.
Look, Anthony. It had to be reasonably easy because there is no way they would have spent that much effort to do it. Do you see what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's reasonably easy for us to cut down trees. We got this big truck that grabs the tree, and a saw blade the size of I think it's 10 feet in diameter, zoom, cuts the thing, and then they just
we're right. We need
twist
to have
the
another
tree
thing.
and drop it to the ground.
I need to show you the Cairo Museum. You need to see the saw cuts in the Cairo Museum because that will blow your mind as well. Right.
I gotta let you guys.
Yep.
I can take you with me.
Yeah.
On my iPhone.
On
But I'm not going to be able to look at the pictures, but I can continue conversation.
All right. Don't, I've got to go and do other stuff anyway, and I'm sure Anthony does. You need to go out and get the moonlight. I'll just close on this one. This is what they call a test pit to see if the granite was good enough for getting the obelisk, right? This is about 5 meters to the right of the obelisk, okay?
Okay.
First off, it's a massive pit. It's bigger than a man, right? Not a lot bigger, but it is definitely bigger than a man. You can see the scale from the bottles in the bottom. So if you were doing a test pit, you wouldn't make it that big because think how much the chiseling they had to do with all the bloody lumps of obsidian, supposedly. Second, it's square. If you were chiseling it, it would probably be round, like you're digging sand. It wouldn't be square, perfectly square. And the third thing is, look how it goes down. Look, they've even bulged out the bottom. So again, this was easier to dig than we know. This was not a guy using one of those basalt hammers.
It's fucking. That's what I was going to say. Copper hammers are out of the question, aren't they?
Exactly. I'll show you the thing they say this was all done with. I'll show you. Oh, yeah, this is an amazing bit as well.
Do you know? Can you see
this sarcophagus lid? Can you see the sarcophagus lid here with the 2 little lifting points in it? You know, like the Serrapeum?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, can you see it?
So, do you realise they didn't find any fucking tools?
Yeah, I know they never found it. I mean, the tools. Oh,
well, the tools were all rusted.
Again, I've got some other things. Got some other things to show you I've got so much to show you for another time. I've got pictures. Anyway, I won't spoil it. I've got some really good stuff to show you. Here's one that I actually went into. This is the one you're allowed into. Can you see? Here's what they built it with supposedly. These. Can you see this? This lump of rock supposedly chiseled out of this. It's just a joke.
You know what they did? They went to the seashore and they got clam shells, and they were itching away with clam shells.
Of course they were. Yeah, but and look, you couldn't even get in with that at the top here. Look, you couldn't even you couldn't even get in. You'd have to be lying, like the men would have to be lying.
They were slaves.
Toady.
Oh yeah, of course they were. They were skilled workmen.
Toady,
can you see how thin it goes? Sorry, Andy. Can you see how thin it goes at the end? It's amazing.
Look, I got to cut you guys off. I got to get to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, no worries.
So I can't be late.
No worries.
I'll gladly talk to you anytime in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really nice to have a chat. Yeah, and we'll sort out another one because definitely I've got some more. I've forgotten about all the tools and stuff that I've got pictures of inscriptions that show what tools they might have used and everything. So yeah. Yes.
Listen, would you agree that if they were using JCB as caterpillars like what we've got right now, they would still be there? There would be traces of those materials still there because they get abandoned, right? There's fuck all there.
Well, so that's why I went looking for, and I will show you this bit, and we can look at it another time as well. That's why, where's Serrapeum? Microsamples. That's why I went and got my microsamples. And I'll show you quickly the microsamples, which are quite exciting, right? So these are sampled with a magnet inside the Serrapeum, right? And can you see these?
Angel, go on mute, motherfucker.
All right. See these pictures? So what you've got here is these are micro samples, okay, which came out of the Serrapeum. These are under a microscope, so you can see the different, bits of sand and stuff. Can you see these strange micro granules? Can you see these round granules?
Are they?
There's loads of these.
Yeah, are
Go
they
on.
iron?
Don't know what they are. Don't know. Haven't had them tested yet. I'm going to send them to a lab. And can you also see these These are definitely iron. These pieces of iron here. Can you see? Which are all crusted with stuff.
They're using them to strengthen it. That's because it's a concrete mix, right?
No. So these are small flakes from the floor. So hang on, and hang on. Oh, there's a better example. Here we go. So you can see, look, there's a bit of a husk of something in it. More of these granules. I hadn't thought they might actually be in the rock itself. Actually, I didn't get a lump of rock to crush it up. Actually, I must crush a lump of rock up and see. Actually, it's a good point. And then, hang on. Here we go. Here's a good example. Have you ever shaved metal or seen little shavings of metal? Can you see how this is a shaving? Can you see it's like a? Can you see?
Swarf.
I don't know. Yeah, like a swarf. Exactly. If you've ever done metal on a lathe, it's like a swarf. Can you see that? That's really interesting too. Can you see that swarf there?
Yeah, but do you know what I'm thinking when I look at this? I'm thinking that these are all
on people's feet.
strengthening attributes for mixing, not because they're naturally occurring. They put them in there to strengthen the mix.
So I was hoping. So what I was trying to do was pick up bits. Can you see this one's twisted as well? Can you see like it's gone at high speed almost? Can you see this one's twisted? Can you see it's like bent, like a ribbon? Can you see this particular piece here? By the way, it's catching up 101, 102, 103. Can you see this bit of iron is bent like it's turning?
That doesn't look like iron though.
That is iron. It's rusted iron. So the reason I got these samples was what I was trying to find was diamond in it, because Dunn's idea is that they use machine tools with diamond blades, and the diamond is always pressed into steel on those diamond blades. Like we have these days that we would cut granite with, or file granite down, stone cutting. So I was trying to find residual of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. Look, more microgranules as well. Interesting stuff though, isn't it?
Toady, would you not agree that this is acting like rebar in concrete?
I'm not agreeing anything because I'm not crushed one piece of it.
By the way, do you remember that this is how I came to flat Earth?
I did. Yeah. You're on a better tip, in my opinion. You're on a much better mission on this. At least it was.
Yeah, but no one listens. No one's interested. Everyone's happy to believe that the tombs.
Yeah, well, that's just rubbish. Right, look at this. Look at this. Look. Right, look at this. Look at this. This is. Hang on. Let me show. Look here. You seen this one before? This is just dumped on Elephantine Island. All right. This is supposedly like one of the little chambers they went to, because there's a bit like the Osirion chambers. Look at the perfection of this. Look, it's got a pyramid on top. Look at we couldn't even do this now in granite. Look, we couldn't go in and do a corner like that. How do they do a corner like that with an old bit of rock, which is all they had, and maybe a copper chisel? Look at it.
Do you know the reason why that was dumped? Was it cracked or something?
No, there's a couple of them. They don't know on Elephant Island. They thought there may have been a big cataclysm. They don't know. Look at it. It's incredible. Can you see it? Look, it had a door.
The reason why a lot of them were dumped was because they were either broken whilst they were being created, or the other reason is because when they were.
Can you see the line here? Look at the profiling on that, Anthony. In granite, this is rose granite. Look, you can see it's rose granite, right? Look at it, rose granite. Look at the profiling. Yeah. Look. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's just. Look. They had to do this. Look, they had to do a curve on this bit. Sorry. This is Elephantine Island.
Oh, okay. So it's not anywhere in Cairo or Giza or anything like that.
No. It's Elephantine Island, it's just down up from Giza. It's supposedly where they took the Ark of the Covenant. There's loads of stuff on Elephantine Island. This is amazing, and they call it the TARDIS. Can you see? Look, they put this. Look, this cornicing on it. Can you see the perfection of the cornicing? Look. This is not modern, by the way. Don't think this is modern. This is ancient. This is ancient. Yeah. Look at the cornicing on it. It's just incredible. Look at it. It's just stunning.
Tony, did they say how old they thought this was?
Well, this is at least 6,000 years old, right? This is contiguous, made by the ancient Egyptians. This is not New Kingdom or anything.
Do you realise that civilization, according to the current narrative, is only 6,000 to 7,000 years old?
Yeah, I know. Which is right. It's rubbish. Look at this. Look, this was not, a civilization of at least some sophistication made this. This was not guys with that little rock I showed you earlier bashing away and a bit of copper maybe. I mean, just rubbish. By the way, I'll show you another. No, I'll do it another time. I've got this amazing sequence which shows you how they built the pyramids, which we decoded from one of the walls of one of the temples, which shows their symbolic how they supposedly built the pyramids, and it actually shows you some of their mystical tools as well. But I'll leave that for another time. It's actually got a bit where they're lassoing the obelisks and they're picking the obelisks. It's the only picture we found of where the obelisks are actually being picked up by something. And by the way, they cover all this stuff up. They try and hide all this stuff. It was in a bit that's supposedly being renovated that you can't look at. Yeah, go on.
Do you agree that the fact that there is what's the word they used to describe it? There is air bubbles or air inside the case stones. Do you agree the fact that there is air inside the case stones means that it has to have been poured like a concrete?
Well, I'd have to see that myself. So here's another interesting, very controversial thing. Very quickly, yeah. I'm not saying it's no. This is the temple on top of a temple, supposedly. Can you see? So these are the tops, supposedly, of pillars, which Jimmy claimed, like the Melty Staircase. He claimed this temple was built on top of another temple. I don't know if did you see this at any point on videos? No. Yeah. What it is actually is, and I think it's more mystical than that. So this is so basically what happened is they took up this big rock here to put an electric cable in. All right. So this is Dr. Robert Schoch standing on top of it, actually. This is electric cable. So they took this stone up, put electric cable in. When they popped this stone up, they found all of these, which are obviously the bases of the pillars. Do you see what I mean? Underneath.
It's underpinning.
Come on.
It's underpinning.
So these are pillars that are underneath the floor, basically.
Yeah, so it's underpinning, right?
Yeah, it is underpinning. Now, what they think they did is they used old bits of the temple that was there earlier, just as like a foundation, just because it was good, strong stone, they put it in like a foundation, is the actual theory. Whereas Jimmy's theory was that this was a whole temple that was being built on top of and filled in by sand. But you can see these pillars would be so close together. There's no way these can be the tops of pillars.
No, it's clearly underpinning, right?
Yeah. So we debunked that one.
Did you suggest that at the time?
Yeah. You can see it's got nice details on it, of course. Yeah. That's
exactly. Did you suggest it might be underpinning?
Yeah, I did. That's why I made this video as well. I put it on the internet.
What did they say? What did they say to that?
Well, Jimmy never responded. Because I don't know if you know. So at the point I went to Egypt, a guy called Jimmy who does lots of these videos, right? You come across Jimmy. He's the guy with the Explorer hat. He's a young lad. He's a nice guy. Bright Insight, he's called. Jimmy Bright Insight. Yep. He did a video. It's like our flat Earth thing, right? He did a video that said, "Oh yeah, it's a temple on top of a temple." A friend of his went there. She got exclusive access. She had to bribe a guard. She got to see all these secrets. So when I went there, I thought, "Oh, I'll have a look at that." Had a look, and there's nothing to it. That particular one.
But let's just accept that it's underpinning, right?
Yep.
How the fuck would they even do that?
I haven't got a clue. How would they move it to do that? I mean, it's just huge, right? How would they knock the temple down to put it in? Yeah.
Are you familiar with underpinning that we do in England?
No.
Right. Big drill, big bore, steel, right? It rusts over time. They galvanize it so it doesn't rust as long. But the point is that we don't make it out of stone. We can't make it out of stone. The only way you'd be able to do that would be to drill a hole, pour it, and then hopefully... I can't see how they could do that out of stone. It's fucking madness.
Well, this is. Oh, by the way, this is the obelisk that's still in place. I'm trying to show you, and I mean, as I'm spoiling all the things for another time. Look at these pictures; they're fascinating, aren't they? They're lagging for you, aren't they?
A little bit.
Let me try and get to a decent one. The statues are amazing, and I analysed the statues as well. I've got a theory about the statues. Let me try and find the right statue.
Did they show you the aircraft, the helicopter, and the UFO?
Yeah. I'll show you them. They're just rubbish, though. That's just rubbish. It's flaked off. It isn't. It's obviously two things on top of each other. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news on that one.
No, you'll have to explain that. I'm not familiar with that explanation.
Yeah. By the way, here's a good one. Right. So I don't know if you've seen this one. Can you see this? How the hell did you smooth again this granite head? This is a head, by the way, of someone.
It's polished, isn't it?
Exactly. Can you see the perfect polish on it? The reason everyone's touching is it's perfectly polished. Perfectly polished. How did you do it? What
is it part of? Is it broken or is it part of?
Yeah, it was part of a head which is broken off. Yeah, it's a part of a broken head. Let me try and show you another one. There's some absolutely.
See, you can't polish stone. What again? Is that man-made?
With a lathe. How do you lathe stone of that size? Right?
You can't.
this is the thing. It just, I mean, this honestly, it blows your mind. This place. Yeah, look, this is naughty. Can you see how many people have touched this?
Yeah, handprints.
Yeah. Well, have a look at the picture.
Is it a penis?
It is. That's Osiris.
No.
You know the story of Osiris? You know he had his bit chopped off, and then his wife Isis made him one out of gold. Yep, that's in the temple.
How? I'm assuming that's less than 8 feet tall.
There you go.
Oh, right.
Human
So it's
scale.
5.
Human for scale. You find loads of odd stuff like that in Egypt. Anyway, that wasn't what I was looking for. Oh,
Was that you?
Anyway, we should do it another time. We should. That wasn't me. No, that was one of the guys messing around. I've taken the photo. I'm not that crude, as you know. I'm pretty straight. Magic scarab. No. We'll save it for another time because I've got so many other quite exciting things to show you, especially all the stuff from the museum. The museum is great.
So you're straight. You're a flat earther. All right, cool.
He's not a flat earther. He's
No,
the
I'm
enemy.
definitely not.
He believes in gravity, Angel.
I'm definitely not. I believe in.
You believe in gravity?
I definitely believe in gravity. Newtonian gravity, I would add.
Really? Even though well, let's not go there.
No. Ah, right.
So you
The
believe
power
what
generation.
you're told and not what you can see and observe.
Yeah, right. Let's not go off on a tangent. Right. This is super interesting. Now, I've got a theory about this one. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this particular? This is near to the Dendera bulb. Are you familiar with these
Is this
particular?
the electricity without wires?
Exactly. Right. Now, what I think it actually is, can you see these Hathor's heads? Can you see them? Now, what they claim this is this is a traditional Egyptian necklace. Can you see this thing here? This is a lotus flower holder. These are, right, okay, there's a couple of really interesting things to know. When these bits come out, they always show energy. So anywhere you see these things that look like, I don't know, beads, yeah, they always are energy. If you ever see a god doing this, it's always energy. Right now, the traditional Egyptian explanation is not that. You know, the Egyptologists don't say that, right? But I've interpreted it as energy. The other thing I found is there's always, I think it's 23, but it might be 33. Always 23 of these when a god is throwing them out. Not in these particular ones, because obviously there's different numbers here. But when you see these with a god, I counted them in 2 completely different temples, and they're quite rare, by the way. When you see these energy things coming from the gods often throw them at people and throw them into people's heads. But anyway, if you count them, it's either 23 or 33, always, which is really interesting as well. Anyway, which
is the black stuff, or is it handprints?
It's just the number of people touching it that colours the limestone. So this is limestone, yep, and it's just been coloured. Now, I think this.
Hang on. There's a black line that goes through it that doesn't seem to be touched. Is that above head height?
It's probably just where they've touched it and they've then touched it up to try to repair it. Yeah, because a lot of people touch this. Now, what I think this represents, by the way, is this is energy coming out, but this is a rejuvenation machine. So these are gateways right now. Without boring you guys to death, there's about 7 different types of gateways they have on these symbols when they put them on these Egyptian walls. And this is the ascending gateway. So this is a gateway to something. So what this is saying symbolically is someone's head is linked in to a gateway with energy that is taking them somewhere, doing something to them, or I think rejuvenating them. So,
are you saying that they practiced human sacrifice?
No, I'm saying here we go. Here's the Dendera bulbs. You must be familiar with these.
Yeah. The worm.
The worm and the light bulbs. These are Dendera bulbs. Again, I think it's all to do with longevity and rejuvenation. I think it's all linked to rejuvenation. Is my theory of this. Because
longevity and rejuvenation. What do you mean?
Well, like human life extension, or maybe not human, whatever the race of people these were, life extension.
Okay, so there's 2 theories, right? One's phallic and the other one's power.
Mm.
Does that mean that are you familiar with both of them, and do you dismiss both of them?
Of what?
Well, one's power, meaning energy without wires, supporting the idea that the Giza pyramids were power plants and wires power.
Okay, well, I mean that's definitely plausible because they were into using energy, I think, for rejuvenation. By the way, I'm trying to show. I must go through it another time. That is me, and show you the one with the energy coming out of these beams that they've got. Oh look, here's the other ones. Here's the other ones. Here's the other lotus leaf energy weapons or whatever they are. Sorry, go on. What was the other idea? Look, they chiseled these all. Someone's trying to remove them all.
Phallus. This is the phallus one. So
Tried to remove these.
One is power without energy. The filament of the bulb is the snake. The other one is the phallus. The phallus is the penis. I'm in charge. I'm the king. You're the slave. I'm exerting my prowess over you. Control, power, like the emperor.
All right. So, quick question. This guy here, can you see him? Are you familiar with this guy?
Slow down. Give me 3 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, yes. This is the
now. Hang on. Right. So, this only appears in 2 places, and I will show you both pictures. This is one of them, by the way, in a sec, right? This is hidden, by the way, on the bit that they tried to chisel off and remove that's on the top of the wall in the same temple. I'm going to show you the other bit. This is the supposed monkey or lizard man, right? And he's got the supposed 2 wands or whatever they are that he's holding in his hands, 2 knives maybe, and he's supposed to be either directing the energy or doing something with it. And he's supposed to be either a baboon, a lizard man, or a monkey. Yeah? Are you aware of this figure then? So that all...
I am well aware of the figure.
Right. So
the interpretation is the issue.
Yeah. He looks a bit like a rat to me. Can you see his face? He's definitely not a baboon, and he is definitely, he looks like a... Right? Sorry?
He's not human. He's either a serpent or an alien.
Yeah, and he's very unusual because generally they show humans and then just put a different head on it, right? I'm pretty familiar with what the Egyptians, I've looked at a lot of this iconography, like we all have. He is definitely not human. Exactly. Look, even his shoulders are not like a human, right? He's either a lizard or a baboon. It looks like a rat here. But by the way, I'll show you the other picture. So hang on.
Toady, just give me 2 minutes. I need to go and get a drink. My mouth's dry. Just 2 minutes, promise.
So what got you started on all this again?
On which?
On all of it.
I don't know, just being a kid, I suppose.
Realizing you were lied to and wanted to get the truth?
I'm not a big one for being lied to. I was just interested in it. Yeah. I think that there is quite a bit of I don't think they do it deliberately. My view is that they just don't know, right? So they have to have an explanation, and so they just make stuff up, right? I mean, there might be some. By the way, there may be some deliberate lying as well.
I'm of the belief that 300-400 years ago they came up with a really decent idea from a bunch of people who were scholarly, but then even though that idea has been misproven and disproven by new discoveries, they stick with it because they just don't want to admit that previous civilizations and or previous man has had higher levels of technology than we do at current day. We want to be the top of the food chart. We want to be the top.
Yep, I completely agree with that. Yep, I think that's definitely true. As you say, they came up with this stuff 200-300 years ago, and now they don't really, they don't have an explanation, and as you say, they don't want to admit.
We'll see in other examples where they were moving so quickly that they made a mistake. They didn't catch it right away. They overcut a little bit and then backed off. So it's not apparently not really slow one at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's something very major going on that's not accounted for by classical Egyptological thinking, if I may say that.
It's pretty amazing. We're seeing the same machines right now with the size blocks, all the same very quickly. They're not, it's so different and so complicated. That's amazing.
Just look here. Look at this. It's just incredible, isn't it? It's not like anything's fine. They just look. You're not getting even a cigarette paper or anything.
No, it's quite.
Try again. Try again.
There's no other line.
You're not getting anything. Look, I'll show you. Look, here's a credit card.
And then all of
because if you just had 2 blocks,
right, you're not getting anything in there.
you would just.
Well, history does repeat itself. It
Yeah.
can be done multiple times.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what you'd get as a civilization for. I know what they get now for just not wanting to go back and say, well, actually, they had a much better technology. And by the way, we're probably not the most sophisticated people on the planet because we can't, explain how these things are done, as we saw with that obelisk. Right? We got no explanation.
In this context, would you agree that the closest that we can get to this is a basement in a house that's got flat walls and no artistic calligraphy? You know what I mean? Like, we can't get anything like this at all.
I don't think we can get anything like this. I don't think we have the civilization to be able to understand even what they were doing. That's why I wanted to show you some of the things. Anyway, I'll do it next time, because I've just realised I've got to try and find that one of the second monkey. Yeah, before I get really excited. Actually, I probably have got the bit I could do. No, I couldn't. I can't find it. Abydos. No, it'll take me a while to find it.
Did you come across the propeller in the museum?
Yeah. The museum the other day. I've got so many good things for the museum. Stuff that you haven't even seen that should blow your mind if you're interested. I've got some really good stuff in the museum. Yeah, the museum is packed full of treasures because basically anything they could move, they took from the museum. Oh, by the way, here we are. Here's the here. Let me show you very quickly. I've just found what I was looking for. Here's the you're talking about the UFO.
And anything they can't explain, they put in the basement of the museum.
Yeah, and that's it. That's what I want to show you, the stuff they hid, because I went into the back areas as well and then got stopped and got pushed out. But you know me.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. But
I'm quite an inquisitive person. Right, that's a laser beam, by the way, showing where it is. Can you see that is the thing that's supposed to be a bit like a spaceship, and then you've got the thing that is a bit like a glider down here.
Slow.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got the spaceship. Yeah, it's the plane. There's clearly
helicopter,
right?
No. So, helicopter. Can you see here? Helicopter, supposedly. Yeah.
Slow down.
Tank, plane, and then glider.
That's clearly a helicopter, right?
Well, let's go slowly. So they do look a bit like that, right? What it is, and you can see it clearly here, Anthony, is it is two sets of...
It's not just a helicopter, it's an Apache helicopter.
Yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah, it does look like it. What it is if you look at it sideways, and you can absolutely match it up, you can actually see if you're actually there, which you don't see normally in the pictures like this. Can you see the plaster's all falling off? So actually what it was is there was a set of inscriptions underneath, and then someone plastered over the top. And I'm, certain about that.
But that was as well in the original inscribing.
Say that again.
What you just said then does not explain the original inscribing.
Yeah, but this wasn't the original. It's two sets, Anthony. It's two sets. Yeah, this is like a guy with their feet that you see all the time. Can you see this one here? It's a guy with the feet. Hang on, I'm trying to find Hang on, I may have trying to see if I can find a decent zoomed image of it.
Yeah, it's a bit blurred, that one.
Yeah, it is a bit blurred, but obviously TV companies getting it. By the way, this is in the dark, in a corner, with a load of scaffolding around it. It's not, it's really hard to see it. Yeah, that's not bad. Look, Apache. But can you see, if you look sideways, if you turn your head sideways, you can see it's a guy's feet. Yeah, honestly. So there is, on someone's website, they've done a really good example of showing how it is two sets on top of each other.
Hang on. Show me where his feet are.
There's the feet here. Yeah, you want to. There's a website that go into the Abydos inscriptions, and they've exactly found which hieroglyphs it is and superimposed it. Because also, what's this? You're not saying, oh, this is a giant spider or something. Can you see this bit? That's all a bit crazy as well.
Yeah, but it's too damaged to be able to decipher, right?
Yeah, but look, this could be something it isn't, because what's happened is they put two bits over each other, like here as well. You can see they never do this. These aren't Egyptian symbols. They never have stuff like this.
When you say that's a guy with his feet, right?
Look, here, look. This is the turkey. Can you see here? This is a bird. Can you see? Underneath.
No.
And this is the thing called the Djet. So this is the mound. This is the mound, which you can recognise. This is a mound.
Oh yeah, I see a bird on the mount now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a bird there. See what I mean? So it is two sets of inscriptions together. This is a guy with a feet. Yeah, sideways. He's lying there.
There's nowhere else in the whole of the hieroglyphics where you have to turn your head sideways to interpret what's going on.
No. If you see the overlay, I'll find the thing for next time. I'll show you the overlay. Right, I promise you.
Okay.
I've looked at it because I was really interested in this, and I thought, well, is it, isn't it? And as you see, I'm quite interested in this stuff, and I'm very convinced.
Why?
Yeah, and as you can see, look, here's a good example. Look, Anthony, you can see the bits showing through. Can you see there? These little bits showing through. It's because they've superimposed two together. Can you see here? There's
Hang
bits
on,
showing through.
superimposed. What do you mean? Do you mean like digitally?
No. So no. So what they've done is, can you see here, this odd thing here? Can you see like 1, 2? Can you see 4 lines here? Where my mouse is, I know I don't know, it's not showing very well for you guys, is it?
Do me a favour. Are you able to send me that picture through Skype rather than because it looks low res and I don't see what you're.
It is pretty low res, but it's probably looking worse on your screen.
Yeah.
Let me try and find that one and send it to you. That's a good point. Let me try and do that.
Because I think it might be a resolution. But the thing is, there's nowhere else in the hieroglyphics do you turn your head sideways to interpret
all these things. Yeah. Just hang on. I've got all these things to show you. There's so many excitements that I've got. How do I find the?
This is my real interest, my passion, if you will.
How do I? If I drop it on, no, it doesn't like it doing that. What if I click that? Let's try that. Let's try that. There we go. There you go. That should come to you.
Excellent. Right, let me open it up now so I can see it.
Right, there you go. You're going to have a decent look at it. I think that's all right.
Australian guy. Hang on. It's not come through yet.
Should
well, hang on. That's Angel's picture anyway, so.
Yeah. Has it come through?
Not yet.
But I should find the superimposed one, and then you could see it. I promise you, it's a and you can see the 4 lines that I'm trying to talk about. Well, hang on. Have a look at the picture.
I'm waiting for it to come through. But would you agree though that the 3 of them do look like an Apache, a tank, and some kind of?
And why would they be particularly picking a future spaceship we don't know, a land cruiser from Star Wars, a possible glider on its side, and an Apache? The Apache, by the way, I think is the most obvious thing, yeah, if you want to call it that, though the rotor's very thick, isn't it? And the blade is joined to the back as well. Yeah, honestly, when you see the actual explanation of what it is, a guy lying down, a bird, you could, they've done a like for like match.
Okay, well, I'll give you that for the minute, but I still haven't got your picture. Are you sure you've sent it?
Okay. Yeah, I have. It's like the melty staircase. It's one of those things I really looked into. I'm very open-minded on some things, but some things I think are very provable. This is one of them. Yeah, I've definitely sent it. What's the last thing you got?
I've got me saying pow. Do you see me saying pow?
Yeah, I've just sent you a message. Have you got that message?
Oh, you mean right? You've not sent it in this message. All right, okay.
No, I've sent it in your other chat. Yeah.
Right, I've got it. I see it. I'm just waiting for it. High.
Yeah. You got it.
Quality image, right? I see a flash. Right, but I don't see how that's a man.
All right. So, have you opened it up?
Yes.
Okay. If you look at it, look above the thing that's supposedly a glider at the bottom. You see there's 4 lines going across. Can you see those 4 lines?
Yes, I can see them now. Yes.
Underneath the sort of Zeppelin or whatever it is, that may or may not be a spaceship, a bad spaceship on the side, right? This is where, and can you see the sort of M shape? By the way, they don't have any letters in Egyptian, so it isn't. Can you see the M shape? And can you see there's like a cup handle, a coffee cup handle, as if someone was going to want to pee in a cup or something. Yeah, right. And can you also see on the glider thing, there's also that there. And in fact, if you look below the 4 lines I just showed you, can you see 2 dots and another 2 dots? Can you see those? So if
say
you
that
look,
again. Where am I looking?
Right, below the bubble ship or the spaceship, right, there's that funny thing where I pointed there were 4 lines. Looks like a foot. Almost looks like a foot.
I do see the foot.
Right, below that, can you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots? I'm zooming in on my picture. Can you see those? That is all stuff showing through from underneath. That is not a foot. That is not 4 dots that they randomly put there. That's all part of the hieroglyphs that have been superimposed.
Are you saying that they frauded this?
No, I am saying, definitely not. I'm saying that they changed the inscription in the past, because someone else came in and they did a poor job of putting the rendering on, and then some of it's flaked off. That's made basically it's superimposed the 2. Because this thing here is actually a hand. Can you see this thing? The thing that you think is a tank. Yeah. If you look at the thing that's a tank, can you see it's got a thumb and then it's got 4 fingers? It's actually a hand.
No.
Yeah, it's a hand symbol.
I see it.
Yeah, it's a hand symbol.
Yeah, but hang on. If that's a hand, why is it so out of proportion when everything else?
It isn't. They do long hand. It's the long hand. It's called the digit. Yeah, it's a known thing. You'll find it quite often. Yeah. It's a well-known thing. I promise you, someone's done a comparison, and I'll try and dig it out for next time.
I need the overlay.
Yeah, you need to see the overlay, and then you go, oh yeah, it's blah, 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 blah. Job done.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on.
Right? Honestly, it's the least interesting thing, which is why I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I think people get very excited by it because they think, oh yeah, this is real proof. It's not that much proof. Finally, no, let's do the other stuff next time. Otherwise, we'll spoil too much. There's a solar boat that I went to see. Oh, I saw so much stuff. It's such a good holiday.
Let's call time because I'm going to go to bed, and B, we should. We'll catch up.
Preserve the other things, exactly. Preserve the other things for another time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let's do this because this is like the most interesting thing that I've come across in terms of discussion.
In the last month, you've been round the circle on flat Earth, but on this, it's like all new stuff again, isn't it? It's always quite exciting.
Well, it's not really new stuff. It's just so abstract.
All right. Old stuff, but first-hand views of some of that stuff, which probably aren't as good as some of the videos, but there's a lot of them. If you sort of mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's good and it's bad, right? It's not as good as obviously the best videos that are produced, clearly, but it is some of the stuff that you don't see because no one will ever bore you by showing it all to you.
Oh, no, it's not.
Museum, you'll love the museum. Yeah, the museum. There's a couple of smoking guns in the museum as well, like some of the pottery and some of the statues and that propeller thing, and the tools. There's some really interesting tools in the museum. The other really interesting thing, remind me, which I might forget about, is my mystical spiritual experience with Kemet, who's a goddess. That's an interesting story about hypnotism and stuff. So make sure I tell you that story at Karnak. Make sure I tell you the story about the building of the temple and decoding that we did on that. Make sure I do find the pictures that show you the energy, the energy. The one that Angel will want to see, which is supposedly where they put those golden links in the basalt, which they built on the Olympian Island. So on Olympian Island, there's a whole temple made out of basalt, and supposedly they chiseled these like things that supposedly join it together. Have you seen those things where they say it's either wood or metal that join the walls together? You know those things that look like a bow tie? You know, they look like a bow tie.
H's.
Yeah. Sorry?
They look like H's.
No, they look like bow ties. They look like a bow tie. Like, imagine two pyramids coming together. Yeah. And what they do is they join the wall together.
Do you know those things you're talking about that look like H's? When you hold a compass next to them, about every 3-4 inches, it changes magnetic orientation at 90-degree angles.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, if you see the wall that they took apart on Olympian Island, and I have got pictures of it, they didn't find any of the gold, I suppose, because people had taken the bits that join it together. But the theory of the guide that we with, he said it was all to do with electricity and energy. And the gold actually accentuated the electricity within the basalt. And I'll show you the pictures of that. Not that I believe that, by the way, but I know you guys are interested in it. So I should show you that. That's really interesting. You know, it is interesting. I'm not saying it's true or not, but it's definitely interesting. I've got pictures of that where they have these H blocks joined together. Yeah, the things you're talking about. The energy coming out of the hand. I'm getting shouted at because I'm making too much noise. Right, I better go. Oh, I'm going to get into trouble. I can hear someone shouting at me now saying I'm talking too loud. Anyway, I'll make a list of the things. Yeah, there's quite a few interesting things to look up.
Okay, let's call time. We'll reconvene some other time, okay?
And the Sphinx, of course. And I went into a couple of the tunnels, or put my camera down into the tunnel to the Sphinx. So I've got a bit of
underneath the head.
Say that again.
Do you think the Ark of the Covenant or the significant
they claim there's something on the left paw, don't they? And even what's his face, who I was with, Robert Shock, Dr. Shock, claims that there is a thing that he said geophysically he found it. What I did find is with my EMF reader, because I took an EMF meter with me, with my EMF reader, which they looked at suspiciously because they thought I was like a bomber or something. But we were there at 3 a.m, as I say, when the sun was coming up. There is an anomaly there, definitely, because the EMF picked it up. Don't know what it is. Could be just a space. Could be sand. So anyway, something there. Right. Go on.
Did you get down into the Osiris shaft? The one that goes like 200 feet on the ground, halfway between the Sphinx and
No, sadly not. No. Sadly, it's got apparently quite dangerous recently. I didn't. I really wanted to. Yeah, it's a real shame. I didn't get down into that. No. That would have been really interesting. Oh, yeah. As I say, I think if you're going on a tour, like, you know, the Shocks one or the Forester one is a pretty good one. because Forrester goes with that guy that I met. And by the way, I've got a contact in Egypt now, a Khaled, yeah, who's a really good guy. And he'd help me get access to places now since I've been there, you know. He goes with that guy called, Forrester goes with that guy called, forgotten his name, Yusuf, that's it. He's quite famous, Yusuf. He's married a Western American woman. Yusuf something or other. You might have heard of him, seen his videos. He's pretty good. Yeah, he gets you into all the sort of secret places.
Yeah, I know who you're talking of. He also goes with the guy with the beard, whose name is eluding me. I don't remember his name. I'll remember when I see a video.
Yeah, he does go with the guy with the beard. You're right. Yeah, and he's called Yusuf. He's one of the local guides. The key to Egypt is basically there's only 3 guides, right? One whose name I never got. There's Yusuf and there's Muhammad. Muhammad was the guy that we went with. There's basically only 3 who are allowed to take parties around. Basically, it's like it's an Egyptian thing. You know, if you go to Egypt, it's all sort of sewn up with the government. Go on.
Hakeem was the real guy. But he died like 3 years ago. He like grew up there as a kid and used to explore underneath the catacombs before they fenced them all off and all that other stuff.
What was he called?
His name was Hakeem. He's a really old guy, tall face. I'm sure you've seen him if you ever watched any of the Ancient Alien videos.
Yeah, I probably have. He wasn't the father to Yusuf. He wasn't Yusuf's father, was he? Because you're right, there was a guy who grew up in it. And
I actually think he was.
Yeah, I think he was, because I think Yusuf is his son, because they said they came from a family and they grew up in the pyramids and his dad used to play in them when he was little and all that stuff, yeah? And help with the excavations as well, didn't he? Yeah, I think it is. I think that's what I mean. It's one of those things which is all sewn up. You get there and you realise it's all, you know, there's not hundreds of people doing this, if you see what I mean. They keep it very well controlled. And I mean really well controlled, which they're doing deliberately, as we said, yeah. You know, they're deliberately controlling the narrative, yeah. Anyway, I better go. Anyway, really nice speaking to you, and we'll do this again. Thanks, Anthony.
Definitely. Yeah.
Likewise. Thanks for joining me on. Have a great day.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
See you later, Toady.